Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon everyone, especially to our distinguished speaker, my fellow colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like, myself and on behalf of of my colleague, we would like to say thank you to the MIA and ICAEW for inviting us today to this particular session. And I would say that this conference is one of the conferences that I myself really looking forward for two reasons. Number one, this is one of the venue for us to get additional insight from the practitioner about what's happening in practice. And number two, to learn from other colleagues, from academics in terms of how they go about for best practices in teaching. So I think this is a good venue as well to exchange some ideas, especially how we are going to go to move forward with the new ACA generation. Before I start, I just want to make a disclaimer. So I am not here to train you because I am the trainers myself. So my session is more about perhaps a reflection based on what that have been presented since morning from those in practice in terms of, number one, why we need to change the way we teach our students as an educators. And perhaps the second point is which areas that we can do things differently in terms of our teachings as, for example, this morning, there is a growing expectation in terms of sustainability efforts by the companies. And we know that now we are operating in the world of digitalization, and that's then give effects in terms how we as an educators need also to keep pace with the changes in the business environment. So I'm going to start my sharing session on this particular study by Frey and Osborne in year 2017. And in this particular study, the author makes a prediction in terms of which works or occupation will be replaced by automation. And the statistic can be very striking because it is about 94% prediction that accountants or auditors will be replaced by automation. Can I just have a small vote? How many of you will agree with this prediction? Can you please raise up your hand, please? How many of you agree that potentially our profession will be fully automated and the graduates that we produce need to fight for that 6% job opportunity? None of you agree. So if that's the case, potentially we really need to change how we teach our students so that they are relevant to the job market. Because they've got it right in terms of the first one, 99% telemarketers occupations will be replaced by automation. And now, if you call any call service, they're going to being answered by a machine. So I think my discussion, again, more to do as a reflection. We as an educator, what should we do? How things should be different in the way we carry out our work as an educators. Yeah? Now, will auditor be replaced by automations? We agree that some mundane tasks like reconciliation, data entries, anomaly detection already been done by the AI. I got the privilege to talk with some of the audit partners, and they do agree that some of the works, the traditional works of the auditors already been replaced by automation. Nonetheless, as what Mr. Stevens said, yes, we do have very nice tools that can then do the predictive analysis to process the data, but perhaps the system, the AI, the data analytics tool would not have good judgment, sound judgment to understand critical or context related, for example, the audit firms, or more importantly, the tools do not have any moral reasoning. All right? So I think the conversation here should be not about issue or of us being replaced by automation. It is more to do about how we as an educators should help to re-engineer, to help the professions to ensure that the graduates do have the competency that then require with the changes in the business environment. Now I'm going to go to the first point, so I'm not going to go into details because one of the presenters already go into details in terms of the use of the data analytic this morning. Again, the beauty of digitalization or the tools is that it now allow for full population testing if you are doing audit, better detection of anomaly in the financial statement with different descriptive, predictive analysis as what been explained by one of the presenters this morning. So we then agree that potentially in the future we need graduates that not only technology savvy but also do have ethical orientation to anchor their assessment and judgment when they are using the digital tools. I think it is important for us to embed the necessary knowledge for the student at the universities to recognize some of the limitations when they use analytics tools or digitalization tools in the audit, and how then we as an educators would then be able to reinforce the right ethical orientation when they are using such tools. Now, as what Mr. Stephen says, for example, with the use of the data analytics, it comes with some ethical blind spot. Issue of algorithm bias or peak decision making. So the next question is that who audit the algorithm? And of course, as an auditor, you cannot fully trust because the tools can sometimes be delusional. All right, it's like when we are using ChatGPT to help us to craft manuscript, for example. Sometimes it's very delusional, so it is your responsibility ethically, for example, as a researcher, to look back at whatever that been generated by the tools. So I think what is important is that we as an educators need to cultivate this trait in the future, auditors. And I'm teaching auditing as well, and we are referring to, for example, MIA bylaw, to teach the student about the ethical orientation. I think what is missing in the current standard would be in terms of ethical consideration that we need to teach our students when they are using digital tools in the audit performance, or accountants in the preparation of the financial statement, or management accountants, for example, when they are preparing budget. So because MIA is here, potentially this is one of the areas that we can work together in terms of the embedded the right ethics consideration for the student when they are using the tools. And more importantly is that whether they can interpret well of the output that been produced by the tools. Now, the first few speakers talk about the frontline view. I mean, we got additional insight about topic of sustainability, AI from Mr. Stephen, as well as data analytics in practice. But then let's now look what's the research, including my own research, reveals about these emerging issues. Yeah? So this is not an exhaustive kind of compilation, but let's try to understand some of the key insights, and upon reflection, what would be the implications of the research for us as an educators. Now, for example, while AI can enhance audit detection, it's also then introduce biases and also issue of over-reliance. So again, the critical judgment that we need to embed it to our students is very much important. So they need to be trained at early as possible, not when after they graduate. Based on my own study, for example, data analytics is not enough. Ethical reasoning and critical thinking remain vital upon use of data analytics in the performance of the audit. The next point, for example, AI and DA potentially can empower auditors' work in terms of assessment of sustainability claims by corporations. However, it needs to be fitted within strong governance frameworks, or otherwise there is a possibility that the information asymmetry that we try to reduce become wider. Now, upon reflection, what would be the implication of this issue based on the research findings? For example, there is a need for us to teach our students to ensure that they possess these two aspects, ethics tech integration, for example, in audit educations. And we also need to go beyond just teaching the student in terms of how to use the tools. We also need to train our student in terms of be able to interpret the result well or the output well based on the data analytics or AI that been used. We need to train the student to be able to exercise professional skepticism and professional judgment when used the report or output, and to challenge the report, the data that they have, that's important as well. And then they need to decide at the end of the day what to do next, whether they want to escalate the issue further, or they want to investigate further, or I just can make a conclusion based on the report that I have. And I think one of the great challenges as educators, I'm talking about myself, would be lack of skills in teaching the student and the materials that are available in the class. So I think one of the things that we want to do would be in terms of upskilling the staff first, because the staff need to have the necessary skill in order for them to teach the student. And again, this is where we are lacking. Of potentially we can collaborate further with those in practice like Mr. Stephen by addressing first issue of competency skill. I mean, gap skills, not only the student but also the lecturers themselves. We may very good in our research, in our own research expertise, but in terms of aspect of digitalization, I would say we are lagging behind as well. So the first aspect that we need to address is that to upskill the staff themselves. Now, on the point of sustainability and the expanding scope of assurance, the auditors, for example, my discussion more to do from the perspective of auditing simply because I'm teaching and doing research in auditing. Now, if you look at the role of the auditors, it's very much expanding. It's no longer confined to we verify the financial information. We go beyond by giving assurance to non-financial information that includes environmental impact, climate risk, social and governance disclosure. And what's been mentioned by Encik Nick this morning, there is a need for companies also to account the cost of the sustainability effort of the company. All right? And I am not sure the extent to which the university really incorporate that kind of topics in the syllabus. So perhaps that's something that we need to look at and to bring that topic in our syllabus as well. So there is a greater expectation in terms of global reporting because of the requirement of S1, S2, as well as CSRD. So again, upon reflections, what should we do as an educators? As we are giving assurance, people put trust on the professions. So auditors are the frontier of trust. They need to be able to give assurance not only for the numbers that have been produced by the management, but also other narrative accompanied it, right? So the extent to which we then equip the student with the necessary skill is very much important. So let's move. What does research tell us related to the aspect of sustainability? Now, recent study shows that companies do use AI to write sustainability disclosure. Nonetheless, the current frameworks unable to trace or validate which information being auto-generated. All right. So, of course, because of this, we need a standard that can address the AI authored content, or again, we are losing our trust in sustainability assurance itself. Yeah? So again, the question as we as educators, how we can train our students to be more critical, to exercise professional skepticism when they are looking at the narrative that being provided by the companies. Yeah? So we need to prepare accounting graduates who can challenge the ESG narrative, again with the same skepticism that they apply when they audit the financial statement. So the next question again, what's characteristic of future ready auditors or accountants or graduates then? The business is evolving very fast. So we need accountants or auditors that do have knowledge in technology, ESG, of course, ethics that embedded to it. So we, again, as an educators, need to keep pace to ensure that we are then supplying accounting graduates that do have this set of skill that then being demanded by the profession. Now, I'm not going to go into details on the 7 principles for future-ready accounting graduate. So it's ranging from creative, conceptual, critical thinking, up to curiosity and lifelong learning. But what I can say is that, in summary, we do need accounting graduates who is AI literacy, with digital ethics, ESG fluency, critical thinking, judgment, and business acumen. So we need to think about, upon reflection, how all these elements should be embedded in our accounting graduate. So how do we get there then to ensure that our graduates do have this set of skills that they're needed after they graduate? Yeah? I think it would require curriculum transformations. We need interdisciplinary education, which I'm going to discuss a bit more in the next slide. We do need, of course, accounting knowledge. And potentially, we also need to teach our students some basic knowledge related to data science. Of course, ESG been embedded widely in our courses, as well as knowledge in law. So at the end of the day, the accountants, the accounting graduates, the auditors need to go beyond ensuring that the financial statement it is in compliance with the regulatory requirements. And now we are moving towards sustainability. We are concerned about the climate change, the carbon emission. We are using digitalization, AI, data analytic in the audit performance. So we are concerned about the governance and ethic consideration why we are using the tools. So I am proposing 3 shifts. Number 1, in terms of the contents. So our curriculum need to incorporate topics such as basic machine learning basics, natural language processing for textual data, AI, ethics, cybersecurity, and legal risk, because this is the way forward. So we need to embed this in our courses or curriculum. So I think I would then keen to discuss more about experiential learning. To be honest, this is, I think, as what Mr. Stephen mentioned to Dr. Zubir, questions, assignment would be then sufficient to train our student. But the problem is, for example, we do not have the tools in the universities to start off. And the second one is that some of the lecturers may not have the skills to teach the student. That's another issue. So if we can then come together and think about how to develop a case-based or lab-style modules with hands-on experience using AI or data analytics in the performance or audit or preparation financial statement would be a good idea. So this is where potentially we as an educators need the support not only from the regulators like the MIA, but also professional bodies like ICAEW and those in practice to help us to build up or to develop teaching materials that very much relevant related to the use of digitalization, for example, in the class. This is one of the areas where we are very much lacking. And as I mentioned earlier about multidisciplinary integration that merge accounting with IT ethics and also some aspect of data science. It is important for us to be able to build a very good ecosystem for lifelong learning. So I, representing my colleague, want to work very closely with the regulators, professional bodies, and the industry, how we can collaborate again related to these particular areas. And I think another important thing is that point on internship. So it will be good if companies can give the student tasks that give them the exposure in using that different tools during their internship. Yeah. Because we need to be able to produce graduates who are resilient, meaning to say in order for them to be resilient, we need to equip them with the right set of skills. So perhaps we need to rethink about how we approach things, especially the educators in terms of how we teach our students. And potentially how we need to reaffirm the way we do research and the implication of our research to people in practice as well as the educators. Yeah? And this is my last slide because I just have about 15 minutes to wrap things up. At the end of the day, it is a call to actions. So let us co-create curriculum that is relevant and rigorous. Learning that is experiential and ethical, research that drives change and not just publications. Yeah. So with that, I end my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. Now I'm open for Q&A session.
Okay, so I'll hog the mic a bit. I wanted to share some thoughts. I wrote down quite a few things from what Dr. just presented. I just wanted to share an observation that towards the end of last year, we actually did an internal AI conference within the firm
Ah, all right.
where we got the gentleman who gave me the comments just now, we got him to go on stage and share with everyone else in the firm how you would use free AI tools to actually do research that relate to our day-to-day work. And I'm not sure if we have all tested this, but actually MFRS is sitting inside ChatGPT already. Of course, the danger about GPT is that it comes with a date. It actually discloses that it is updated to so and so date. So of course, accounting standard change all the time.
Yeah.
So that's the risk. But effectively, my partner was able to demonstrate on stage, like everyone, you just log in now using the free ChatGPT. Yeah, then we demonstrate immediately in front, like this is the technical question that one of the staff asked for one of the live audits that we are doing. So everyone now, you use GPT, use your own login, and just do the research immediately. So you can ask a scenario-based question and then ask GPT to specifically look up this specific MFRS, and it will actually give you an answer. Of course, as we have discussed on stage, I don't trust the thing 100%.
Yeah.
But at least as a, shall I say, proof of concept, the resources are actually there, and it's free. Of course, again, we always have a disclaimer that don't trust it entirely. But I reckon even with assignments, if internally we test it out a bit first, don't straightly ask the students try. But if you test it out a bit and you sort of know what GPT is able to do and not do, you can actually give out potential assignments and let some students try it first. So initially, when I asked for that internal demo, I was cracking my head how, because we also train our own internal AI model with MFRS and auditing standards. But because this thing moves so fast, when the time the conference came, my guy was telling me it's still actually the free one. We can just use that model already. So because we had some practical issues during the conference where we wanted everyone to experience it. So then what better to just use the phone and everyone just try on their phone on their own. So then we had to use the free version, the public version, which at least for the purpose of that demo, it actually worked quite well. I dare not say for very extensive research, do a full-on 5,000 word assignment can or not, that I dare not say. But the free resources already can help us to a certain extent. Then on a separate note, I also wanted to share the black box point that Dr. presented. There are audit methodologies out there and training out there where you can start auditing the blockchain and audit the AI algorithms as well. But for us, the financial auditors, is not our skill set. So even in the audit, we will still work with the professional IT auditors and maybe just to do advertising for this group of people. So on Wednesday, Thursday, I'm actually going to attend their conference. There are a group of people called ISACA, ISACA. So ISACA is doing their 2 days conference at Sheraton PJ. And this group of people, all the IT security, auditing all the IT systems is their skill set. And then for the financial auditors, we do work with them quite closely to audit the systems. And now the recent update in the ISA auditing standards for risk is also compelling us, the auditors, to do more work in terms of IT general controls. So we have to do much more documentation and judgment call in terms of how we assess the IT risk of the client, whereby if the tech that they use is very complicated and we are not in a position as financial auditors to audit, then we bring our colleagues from the IT audit side to come in and do a full-blown work. So that is also one of the developments, if I may, happening.
So, Mr. Stephen, I'm just wondering, so for the audit of algorithms, so that's been done routinely How it been done routinely by the firms?
Is this IT audit?
No, the audit of algorithm.
Oh, no.
Algorithm audit.
No,
so
not at all.
is it been done routinely, or you just again
So
you have
what
a
would
time frame?
happen if I may propose? Don't quote me, but if I may propose, it's a risk assessment judgment call that the audit team has to make. So, for example, if I am auditing a company where they are they develop their own AI, and they're using their own AI model to do calculations that are related to the financial results, then I will have to bring the experts in already. And yes, it may go to the extent of auditing the AI algorithm already.
Alright.
But I have to admit, if this happens here in Malaysia, I also don't know where to find. We need the big force to...
Yeah. But for the firm, as you're using AI in the audit performance, so you do like audit the algorithms routinely for you yourself?
Not ourselves. So there's two layers, if I may clarify. So when we audit a system that is off the shelf, let's say it's SAP system, we generally do not go and challenge their integrity already. Then we only do testing to test the completeness or the accuracy as usual. But if it is a system that they developed on their own, it's a XYZ ERP system that no one heard before, and this client developed on their own, and they are running their entire accounting and their revenue recognition and their goodwill and everything using the system, then I will need to bring the ICAEW guys in to audit, and we will refer to their work in exercising a judgment whether the numbers are true and fair or not. Then another higher layer is if the system they built themselves and it is running on AI, and then my friends at ICAEW say, Steven, this one AI also beyond me. So then I got to also bring another group of people in.
To do it. Okay, thank you. Thank you all.